pages 40 to 43, but I'm going to stop at the bottom. I'm going to start at the bottom of 39 sentences on there. So, the bit we have been reading all week. So, putting our cases down flat, I told Cliff to perch on top of them. I'd be all right, leaning against the wall. At least that was the plan. Sitting down, Cliff had just opened his Beano when a hand swooped in and grabbed it. Hey! Cliff looked up. Give that back, I cried. At eye level was a label saying Dorothy Roberts, but the face above it belonged to that naughty girl, Esther Jenkins. Her hair was in 2 dark brown plaits, the pointed ends of which looked like they'd been sucked. She was holding Cliff's comic high above her head. It annoyed me that she'd taken it without asking. That's not yours, I said, reaching for it. 'Tis now. I tried to make a lunge for the comic, but she was taller than me. I bought that for the journey, Cliff protested. Tough, Esther said. She spoke a bit oddly, using English words but sounding foreign. It's ours now. Before we could do anything, the comic got passed on to a boy, then another boy, before disappearing down the carriage. Esther patted Cliff on the head. Thanks, pal, before going to her seat. Cliff's bottom lip started to quiver. Stared to quiver. Shh, don't cry, I said, putting my arm around his shoulders. We'll get it back. Shut up, Olive, leave me alone. He turned away, burying his face in his arms. I didn't know what to do. There were no teachers on board to tell, though through the window I saw that the same old one was out on the platform, arguing with a guard. Suki, I knew, wouldn't stand for here feeling useless. Even worse, Cliff had started sobbing. I'd promised to look after him and was doing a lousy job of it. Stay there, I told Cliff. Heading down the carriage, I soon found the Beano. 2 girls were poring over Dennis the Menace cartoon on the centre pages. Excuse me, I said politely, stopping at their seats. The girls kept their heads down. I tried again. I don't know if you realise, but that belongs to us. You can borrow it if you want, when my brother's finished reading it. They ignored me. I felt rather stupid, especially when the boys in the next row started laughing and jeering, egging people on to join in until it spread through the whole carriage. Thoroughly flustered and wanting the whole thing just to be over, I tried to grab the comic again. The carriage fell silent. Standing in the doorway was a teacher, the one who'd been arguing on the platform. Now, it seemed, it was our turn. Carson, Mitchell, don't you know your alphabet? He barked. The girls reading Cliff's Beano jumped out of their skins as the comic slithered to the floor. I snatched it. You're supposed to be in Coach F, not this one, he yelled. I've just spent the last 10 minutes trying to sort out the confusion you've caused. But Mr. Barrowman, sir, one of the girls tried to speak. The teacher, our teacher, I realised dismally, cut her dead. Each coach is for a different location, you foolish girls. This is Coach D, going to Devon. You're in Coach F, which will be going to hell and back if you're not careful. So move yourselves, you're holding up the whole train. Mortified, the girls rose out of their seats and got to their suitcases. The whole carriage watched without a word. I crept back up the aisle towards Cliff. You there! The girl in the checked coat, Mr. Barrowman barked. I stopped, turned around. Me? Which was a stupid thing to say since no one else was wearing a checked coat. Take these, he flicked his fingers at where the girls had been sat. Hurry up now. Cliff and me slid onto their still warm seats. Reunited with his Beano, my brother soon cheered up. But right in my eye line, just down the aisle, was the person who'd started it all. What are you looking at? Esther Jenkins mouthed. Dunno, hasn't got a label on it, I muttered to myself, though, like all of us, she had one swinging from her coat. I just hoped she'd lose interest in me once we got moving. Walking up the aisle, Mr. Barrowman checked our names against his own shorter list and made Esther and Dorothy swap their labels. The moment he took his seat at the front, Esther Jenkins started on leaving. You, with the bruise on your forehead. I made a point of gazing out the window. She didn't take the hint. You snitched on my friend, she said. They had to move carriages because of you, and now they won't be billeted with us. So I'd say that's your fault. It wasn't my fault. I knew it wasn't. So we've met some new people, haven't we? So Mr. Barrowman, obviously he wasn't a teacher they knew already. In the last pages we talked about Mr. Barrowman, didn't we? And we wondered actually if that was their original teacher, but it's obviously not. It's just a teacher. So it's a teacher going with the children from lots of different schools. Okay, so it wouldn't be, let's say, like me going with you. It might be a teacher from a different school going with you. So that actually would have, like you said, like your face, oh, you know, if it was me going with you, you think, oh, at least there's somebody I know. But this man, this teacher, number one, is now shouting at everybody. Number two, they don't know him. So there's another level, there's another way. There's not actually an adult that they necessarily know. But the other person, we've met as Esther, and in a minute we're going to go on this, but I'm going to do quick 5 questions. You ready? So just quick answers. How did Cliff lose his Beano?
Someone stole it.
Someone stole it, good girl. How did the teacher sort the situation?
They told Carson and Mitchell to go to the different, to go on the other coach.
Good, well done. Why did the girls have to move to coach F?
They're going to a different place.
They're going to a different page. Well done. Right. What do we know about Esther? Oh, I missed the H out. I didn't think that looked right. Just talked about it, didn't it, right? E-S-T-H-E-R. Esther is the girl that all this seems to be about. So what do we know about Esther already? Nice, not nice, friendly, you know, what do we know? Tell me something.
She's horrible.
Horrible. You know, that's a good word to describe her actually, isn't it? Might be other ones.
Like, not really good.
So, naughty?
Yeah.
They did use the word naughty actually, didn't Olive used the word naughty. Not a word you really hear very much anymore. We don't tend to call people naughty. It's their behaviour that's naughty, not them.
Mischievous.
Mischievous. Oh, you would pick a word that I'm now going to have to spell. Miss. Is it E? Yes, I'm going to check the spelling. I'm not convinced I've spelled a little bit of that word right. Mischievous. We'll have a look. If one's got a dictionary in front of them. Not all of you, someone's looking up, don't worry. Right, anything else about her?
She's mean.
She's mean. I would have used mean. She's definitely a mean girl, isn't she? What about her in terms of friends?
They like to sit with her. But
So what do you think? Has she got lots of friends?
she's quite popular.
Quite popular, that's what I was thinking. She is quite popular. Now, she might not be popular because people like her. Why might she be popular?
Because she forced them.
So people might be
Afraid of her.
afraid of her. So she seems popular. She's got lots of people, you know, even all the boys and everyone popular. And she had lots of people around her and they were her friends who were in the other coach. But is she popular by force? Is she popular because she makes everyone like her and no one dares say anything against her? So that's why she's popular. Some people are popular because they're nice people. These particularly popular because she's a bit scary. Anything else? So shall we put scary? Yeah?
Intimidating.
Ah, that's a good word. Scary. Intimidating. Intimidating. Yep, got spies in that one. Any more? How do you think she might be feeling?
She might be feeling a bit jealous that Cliff's got something to read. So the
Okay.
only reason she snatched it is so that she can read it because she's bored.
Okay, so she might be jealous. There might be some element of jealousy that someone's got something. I mean, she might just be being mean, but she might be jealous. Good.
Depressed maybe?
Why?
Because she's like,
Not sure that's quite the right word. I wouldn't necessarily at this point use that word if you don't know enough about her to use depressed. Do you think she might be scared? Do you think underneath all this, because what has happened now at the end of that bit? What just got happened? What just happened? What just happened?
her friends had to move to a different
Yeah.
college.
And so, do you think now she's quite worried
Yeah.
that she hasn't got any friends with her, so she'd be all alone? So actually, you've done really well looking underneath her. The behaviour she's showing might be quite different to the behaviour that is leading to her showing that behaviour. That makes sense. Sometimes the way we act doesn't actually show how we feel. Okay, sometimes when you're scared, you actually act a bit more confident and a bit grumpy, where actually you just want to curl up in a little ball and have a cry. But sometimes you portray a different image. So we think actually she might be. So that's using our inference. Why is she behaving like that? Because she might actually be scared. So although she is scary, intimidating, that might be covering the fact that she's actually just quite frightened like everybody else. Yeah? What are you going to say?
She might also be scared because her friends are gone and now there's nobody to back
Yeah.
her up.
Well, yeah, oh yeah, so not necessarily because more that if she starts sort of being horrible to people, she's got no one who's going to back her up. Harder to be horrible to someone you're on your own, isn't it? And you've only one-on-one. It's much easier. You know, we talk about people when people gang up on other people. That's really, like I say, intimidating. She's got the whole coach behind them, hasn't she? Whereas actually now her friends have gone, she's got no backup. So being mean perhaps isn't going to have such the same effect, is it? Right, your job you are doing on your own, dropped my piece of paper on the floor, is, and there's some questions, and that we are going to write them as a PEE, a PE paragraph. Point, explanation, and evidence. So for each point you make, you need to explain it and show me evidence from the text. The question is, how do you think Olive will respond to Esther's accusation that her friend's billeting is Olive's fault? What does billeting mean? It's where they've been sent. So billeting means where they've been sent to. So her friend's billeting, because they've now been sent to somewhere not Devon, haven't they? Because that's why they're in a different coach, because they're going to a different place. So really the understanding of that question is, how's Oliver respond? Because now, Esther, remember the end of that? Esther said it's your fault.
Yeah.
It's your fault I've been separated from my friend. So that's what that question's about. Your first point is, you reword the question for your point for the answer, don't you, for a P paragraph. Does that make sense? So the first thing is you rewrite the question as part of your answer, then you explain why you think that. So the point is what you think is going to happen. Then you explain why you think that, and then you use the evidence from the text to back up why. Yeah? You might do that from more than one point, but I definitely need a point, an explanation, and some evidence. And then there is an extension challenge, but we've actually probably talked about that in here as